or not. You go ahead.
When you say took a weird twist.
I mean, just how everybody kind of backed into their corners is kind of like, the way they took offense to whatever is going on and the way Atlanta took offense to whatever's going on. And then people, I was kind of reading a little bit of the article you sent about him saying it's not really a black event. And I'm not sure if that rubbed people the wrong way.
I ain't gonna lie, it rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
It rubbed me the wrong way. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
And reading it, I didn't listen to it, but just reading those comments, it sounded very defensive. That's what rubbed me the wrong way more than anything.
Right. And I guess I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I don't do my business I'm a black businessman, but I don't do it as a black business, right? that I'm necessarily trying to have black customers and black clients and everything of that nature. So from one hand, I kind of understand what he's saying. It's like, we're a business. It's really open to anybody that wants this information. Mm-hmm. We are black, and yes, of course, I get you kind of represent the culture too, but that may not be your top of mind of how you're putting out the information. You're just saying, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We're bringing white businessman, black business, anybody that we feel like can help the conversation along, I think. So
let's provide some context on what was going on. Spike Lee, do you have the context of what happened? EYL, of course, Earn Your Leisure in InvestFest, which takes place in Atlanta. There's some backlash, I don't want to say controversy, but a lot of conversation and controversy around it.
It's been controversy.
Okay, then go ahead. Let's get into it. What's the context of it?
So every year they hold their event down here in InvestFest for the last 6 years. It brings about 30,000 people into Atlanta. And one of the hosts of Earn Your Leisure and the person that backs InvestFest, Rashad, he was saying that Atlanta didn't really do a good job of rolling out the red carpet for them when they were, throwing InvestFest in the city, and that they should get more consideration. Was the gist of it. I'm paraphrasing here. There were more things said, but that was met with a lot of pushback from Atlanta people who love their city. And they're like, bro, like, y'all not the biggest show in town. Like, we show y'all love. We do roll the red carpet out for y'all. What are your expectations? And it was this kind of back and forth between the city of Atlanta, the leaders, and the people that represent the city of Atlanta, taking it personal that InvestFest or the EYO people were like, y'all don't do a good job of hosting us. And their retort was basically, bro, we host you. We one of the leading conference hosting cities in the world. People wouldn't continue to come here and have all of these different conferences across these different facets of industry if we didn't do a good job of hosting. And then it was a kind of back and forth with that, but that got squashed. Go ahead.
Just real quick. Did they name any specifics as to what it was that they were looking for that they didn't receive from the city of Atlanta? And I'm sure they've held events. They've held InvestFest in Atlanta previously, right?
6 years straight.
And was this the first year of this being an issue, or has it been building up, or do you know anything?
He wasn't even saying it I don't even really think it was a complaint in the sense of he was expecting something to happen. It was just in gist of conversation that he was having with someone. Like, you having a conversation, you being transparent on a podcast with somebody that you're talking with, and that was one of his thoughts, like a note per se. It wasn't, I hate Atlanta. It wasn't, this is a terrible city. It wasn't any of those things. But people from Atlanta are very sensitive about their city, so they took it that way. I don't think he was expecting anything to change or be different. He was just speaking in the state of what he thought Atlanta was. But again, that was met with people who very proud of the city being like, well, like, I mean, no one else is complaining about it. Like, well, why are y'all special? What makes EYL that?
How did it go from that to this ain't a black event? Like, how did the discourse escalate so quickly?
That's a good question, because the last that I had heard at the event, they did invite Mayor Dickens, Andrew, whatever, one of them. He's the mayor of Atlanta, and they brought him on stage and they pieced it up. They squashed essentially what it was. But that wasn't enough, I guess, for some of the activists down here, the people that really felt offended about what he said. And I think that he was still receiving backlash. So that was in response to the backlash. Like, I don't know where the black event stuff came from, to be honest with you. I just read that article. as well. And like I said, it rubbed me the wrong way. But I don't know where that stance came from. And I guess that's what makes it really weird to me, because I don't know what the origin of that specifically was.
Sounds like you got his feelings hurt. Sounds like he said something which, in all honesty, didn't sound like it was meant to be divisive. He was just, like you said,
Right.
he was just speaking what he felt was true. They was on his ass about it. He got upset. You know, this is coming from someone who was admittedly can say, I'm sensitive. It was on his ass, and he started doing well, fuck y'all anyway. Because that's what it sounds like could happen. You know what I mean? I said something, y'all got mad at it. I didn't mean it that way. And now, fuck all y'all. This ain't no black man. I saw a quote where he said, like, there's going to be even more white people next year, which seemed like he was going out of his way to be petty at that point. That's where I was like, all right, this response, you ain't got no publicist. Like, you can't have a publicist with this response.
No.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. Sometimes we get in, our egos get so heavy in situations that it's hard for us to walk into rooms, especially with a lot of big people or quote unquote big time people in the room, and not want to feel some special way. You know, you see this a lot in our community, unfortunately. I hate it. I mean, I hate that we can't just appreciate what each person brings to everything. I mean, you brought it to Atlanta for a reason. You knew it's the Mecca of the Black America, Black South. I mean, it is that. You can say what you want, but it is that about Atlanta. You cannot like Atlanta. You cannot like the way the attitude of Atlanta is, but it's still what it is. It's the Black Mecca of the South, and more Black innovation, more Black, you know, millionaires, I'm sure, have come out of that area than just about anywhere in America. And I don't know that factually. I just know a lot of people who have gone to Atlanta and managed to do really well for themselves. So I hate that Rashad, he seems to took it personal. Like you said, he seems to really put it on his shoulders and kind of like, I'm giving you guys a gift. Like, I'm bringing this gift to your city. And Atlanta's like, man, we've been doing this shit for 50, 100. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck is you talking about? We do this, right? Like, this is been doing. This is you're not bringing nothing special. You're continuing it. It's in a different era, and what you're doing is great. But it's been a part of Atlanta's culture since I was a kid. So you know, it's
It's ego. I think. I think there's from what I'm understanding, it sounds like there's also a misconception of what InvestFest is as a whole. I know I read some things about that. Like, people who go to InvestFest were expecting something a little bit different. And from what I looked up also, just some of the complaints were, I guess he was expecting like more billboard space around the city, more promotion, some financial backing. He expected Atlanta kind of to chip in and really make this a bigger event. They were going to do their part, and then he wants Atlanta to promote it as well. So it sounds like a lack of promotion or feeling like, but that's
that ain't their job.
That's what I was about to say. I don't know where, because I'm looking at this. I want to pose a question to y'all where, when another week in the books, you know, when we do our traveling tours and we go to cities and want to, you know, build with the community and things like that, and maybe have some workshops and stuff. And we're in a situation to where people are going to have feedback. Obviously, the bigger you get, the more you're open to feedback, whether you ask for it or not. Is the correct method to engage in a curiosity stance where I want to know more about where you're coming from, or is it not engage at all? Is there a fine line in between the two? You know what I mean? Like, so Spike,
engage with who though? I'm gonna say when you say
with concern. All right, so
the people of the community or the people representing the city, like the people that they're complaining about, which I'm assuming the city government.
The people that they're complaining. Well, I don't want to say it like that, because I don't think you would even you wouldn't even look at it as, oh, this city is supposed to help me with this, unless it was some kind of verbal or written agreement that was discussed upon and they dropped they ended the ball. But I'm just talking about criticism in general, like, because sometimes it's easy just to ignore it. All right, I hear you, brother. Appreciate your thoughts. Sometimes it's like, all right, tell me more about what you think went wrong or why it could be better. Or you can have the anger approach and the person, like I took a personal approach that Rashad has, where I'm carrying that weight. Well, like, how do you? Go ahead.
My first thing, I think Rashad made a mistake on. If he did feel that way, he should have called the people he wanted to talk to privately and said, "Hey, man, I want to bring this back next year. But is there any way we can discuss A, B, and C? Can we get A, B, and C done not go public with it as if, when you go public, man, you're putting people in a position where they got to defend themselves now, and then it just keeps feeding on each other. So
I think that's what happened, though. To your point, David. To me, it sounds like knowing us three, knowing business, how things go, that Rashad probably did have those requests, and they couldn't, or they just didn't want to accommodate them. I don't think that they have the leverage to tell Atlanta, I want A, B, and C. Because Atlanta, like we were saying earlier, okay, well, like, we ain't doing that for y'all, bro. I'm sorry. Y'all can take those 30,000 people. Y'all can go to Houston. Y'all can go to Cincinnati. Y'all go to Nashville, wherever y'all want to go. But those things that you're asking for the amount of people that you're bringing in, we're just not going to do those things for you. And I think, or I'm assuming, or would predict that that's how a conversation went. Like, I'm speaking to the people probably who can do things in this city, and they kind of meeting me with a resistance. And if I'm Rashad, I probably do feel a certain type of way about that. Then I do go to a podcast and say they ain't rolling out the red carpet. But also, too, what my criticism would be is you don't have leverage. Like, if he's telling Atlanta, all right, I'm leaving and going to Houston next year, they're going to be like, okay, we'll find another, and not shitting on Earn Your Leisure at all. 30,000 people, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people for another city as well. That would be happy to probably come in and do those accommodating things. But Atlanta's probably looking at it like, bro, we don't got to do that. Like, I don't have to do that. And I'm not.
Here's another thing I was reading that was an issue. A lot of people, and this kind of goes to what I said earlier about what is this conference. Atlanta, I guess, has a lot of financial conferences. Right, they have a lot of people that come in, and usually in that, just like any other genre, right? You do a film festival, you're usually getting a lot of the same people to come and speak or bounce around to these festivals. I guess people were looking at it as, we just had 2-3 conferences in the past month with the same speakers saying the same thing, like building a conversation around generational wealth. And I'm not getting anything new or special from InvestFest. And the way I look at Earn Your Leisure and InvestFest is a Black conference, like Black people in a room. That's how you guys kind of promote it, like kind of bringing financial literacy to the Black community. And now you flipping it and saying, hey, we never came out and said this is a Black conference. We just said it's a financial conference. Well, I think people probably took that as, hey, man, now you playing in our face. We know exactly what you are and what you represent. Just because somebody, like I said, just because somebody called you out on it, it's a little bit, you got defensive. So go ahead.
Yeah, and they built their fan. I think the problem with coming out and saying it's not Black, like, one, we don't have to say that. We've seen how you built your platform. Your platform was built off the back of Black entrepreneurs. That's how it started. Regardless of what you want to call it today, that is how it started, and there is some type of acknowledgement that's required to that. It's just like us sitting here talking. This is a conversation that Black men are having. We kind of promote this podcast in that way. That don't mean I have a white friend out there that can't listen to this. Sure, you can listen to this. It's fine, but it still was built off the premise and the backs of Black men having conversations, just like theirs was providing financial literacy for people who usually don't get that information, which is Black people. Like, that's how it was promoted in the beginning. Can't change it.
And I agree with Spike there. That's where they, to me, got off the rails, trying to make it like, because you definitely are promoting the Black people. Let's not. It's a hip hop theme. There's a culture theme involved in there. It's not just all business and numbers, and we're just spitting out numbers. You can feel the swag is in
the culture is all through.
The culture is all through it, right? And I think what happens a lot of times, and I don't know this to be true, and I could be completely off base, but the bigger you get, the bigger rooms, the bigger you start bringing in bigger billionaires, bigger people, and they need it to be a certain way, and then their influence. You understand me? It's like, okay, they got demands that they need. And it's hard, even, if you take us, let's say somebody calls us, says, hey, we want you to be on boom, boom, boom. And then now we're in the room with a bunch of white executives. And they're like, look, guys, we need you to blah, blah, blah. And we need you to blah, blah, blah. Where's that dance that you're like, okay, I need to dance with these people, but I also need to get this paper too, while it's available to me in these bigger forms. So I think a lot of Black visions that's where it gets a little tricky when they start growing outside of their community.
And I think everybody who gets in those rooms from the community lens, they offer everything. You're
Yes.
for infinity. Even somebody who you think is bulletproof like Jay-Z. Once he got in that room with Goodell and said we passed kneeling, as much as I love Jay-Z, that's a bad look, bro. You can't do that because of what it looks like and what it represents. And it's okay to draw a line somewhere. I never forget, like starting out early in the Culture Garden, one of my best friends, man, shout out to D Hall. I remember he was saying, man, I kind of fear the day y'all make it because I don't want nobody's sponsor to come in and kind of change up y'all style. I want y'all to be different from who y'all are because y'all are so raw and authentic. Even what we build here, I guess it poses a question: at what point do you say, "Nah, I'm cool"? Like, you know what I mean? I think everybody's trying to get a level up, and I understand that, but I don't know how much is enough. Like, how much is like? Do I need? What am I gaining by? I think turning your back is too strong of a term. But what am I gaining from like alienating our target, our base audience? You know what I mean? Yes, we're growing in a sense, but is it worth losing or kind of what's to say? It takes a lifetime to build a reputation, a few moments to ruin it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, where's the balance? Because I get both sides, but
it's the premise of selling your soul. I mean, you start looking at the dollars versus, and a lot of people, it's hard to say no to the real money. And you got to either decide, we're just going to be authentic. We're going to be us. Whatever that takes us, that's what we're going to be. And we're never going to allow anybody to come in here and say, no, we need you to do it this way and do it that way. Or you're going to start to make some adjustments and some bends and some twists to get to other places. That's just what it is. And when you grow, I mean, when you grow, you walk in different rooms. And different rooms expect different things.
I agree. I think
go ahead.
Real quick on to that. With business growth, I feel like a lot of it comes proper communication to your fan base, the people who were there from the beginning. You have to communicate with them properly the progress that you are going through as a business. So if that core fan base, if you're now in that next room, as you were saying, Rich, and that core fan base, before they start to look at you and see you moving differently or see these different things, there need to be some communication between you and that fan base. So like, look, here was the plan. This was always a part of it. I'm glad that you were able to connect with me when we were ground level and we were building this thing from the foundation. But realistically, I'm doing this in order to do this thing, to make it to these next steps, to make it to these points. And sometimes that's going to come with change. If you want to come with us, great. Enjoy the ride, because it's going to be just as fun as it was when we were building this. If this is too much for you and you want to jump off, that's fine too. We appreciate the support that you gave us in building this thing. But I think proper communication can really dead all of that stuff where people are looking at you funny. In this case, and even in the Stephen A case, I think the lack of communication or the lack of understanding that those EYL, and then we'll get to Stephen A later, but the lack of understanding they have for the core people who built their fan base, and to come out and be like, oh, this ain't a black podcast. That just don't make sense. Like, there's some communication that needs to be had before you having these thoughts and saying these things in the media. This needs to be had on your podcast with the people that listen to you. Hey, look, these things are happening. We're growing. These things are about to start doing it. We're about to start talking different, moving different, looking different, because we've reached this ceiling. We want to continue to grow. And in order to grow, these things just got to happen. And everybody don't got to be supportive of it. It ain't their business. It's your business. It's our business. So you can support it and be cool with it, or you can go and take your patronage other places. It's fine. But as long as the person who's doing it and started that thing is communicating properly, I think that, yeah, you'll have an issue, but it'll be much easier for people to tolerate and understand versus looking at you as a sellout of somebody who was using the culture.
That's interesting.
And let's be real. We're all black. And so we all have connections to people in the, lower end of the spectrum, and some people who are starting to move in the other direction. And I don't care who you are. I don't care. When you move up to another bracket, you're not gonna be the same dude you was in the hood. You're just not gonna be. You're not gonna have gangbangers in your house. This going on when you get in that other neighborhood, or you're not gonna be in that neighborhood long. It's just you have to conform sometimes when you're moving to different spaces. You just can't bring every. It's unfortunate. I wish we could be just whatever our selves are, but even some people can't go with you, like, because they don't know how to act, then they're not going to be able to handle the next room. And that don't mean you love them any less. And I think it's hard sometimes for people to hear, because I think a lot of people, some people haven't been in other rooms, so they don't know. They're judging you based on something they really don't know what you got going on and how you're getting there. So they're making a lot of judgments, and they really don't know, because if you got a podcast, like if you Stephen A, I mean, just briefly, and then ESPN says we about to give you 30 mil a year, 60 mil a year, 40 mil a year, you're gonna have some different expectations. Like they're gonna come to you with some different, and you got to decide: am I gonna meet these expectations, or am I gonna hand that 40 million back a year? And that's hard to do when you get up in that level of money to say, Dave Chappelle's one of the rare people on earth to say, no, I'm cool with not having that 50 mil. I need to remain authentically Dave, and I need to be able to walk in every room and smoke my cigarettes. I don't give a damn what y'all talking about. And, it worked for him. Mm-hmm. It worked in reverse for him, and he's able to do it. But,
So it's funny because I was about to bring up Dave, and I guess the question is, if do you have a non-negotiable? Do you know something? If you got in those rooms and they offering you in 50, 60, whatever the case may be, do you know what your line would be as far as, I'm not doing that, bro. Y'all keep the money. I'm not doing that. I know it's a on-the-spot question. You may not have thought about it, but I'm just curious if there's anything that,
like, for example, if somebody came in and said, we want to buy sweats or put a bunch of money into your organization, but you got to run your father off first.
Something of that nature.
He no longer can be in control.
There you go. Or let's say the people who are investing the money, you don't agree with. Yeah. I don't even want to say politics. You just don't agree with their methods of business or their reputation, anything like that. But they're willing to put the money into it. So you gain something, but you lose something. Like what? At what point? What's that line of, all right, then gaining this isn't worth losing this.
Well, I think every individual, just like we talked on the Don about instincts, your intuition and instincts is gonna tell you when you start hearing those conversations. Like you're gonna know when they're saying it, you're gonna be like in your mind, and you're gonna go home and have to wrestle with it, right? And decide yes or no. But I think you're gonna know whatever it is. I think it's hard to say right now until you're sitting there and somebody's actually laying it out for you, and you're like, and then you're hearing it real time, and you're like, no, okay, I'm not gonna be able, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. And so you got to decide: am I gonna bend my own, move around my own intuition, move around my own personal feelings about a subject, or am I gonna go get this money and say, fuck that? I'm just, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get around my own personal feelings on whatever and my personal intuition. So,
and that's the other part of it. I think a lot of people have those lines until that 40 million is in front of your face.
Exactly.
Till you sitting in that room.
Yeah, sitting in that room.
I don't even really think you can answer that question until it's a realistic thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we can imagine
it's
now.
Easy.
I just want to get y'all on record so we can say in the past, like, look, see, they said they weren't gonna do this. Now look at them.
I ain't gonna say it,
but it's easy for the person who's never been offered that money to say, man, I wouldn't do that shit.
Yeah,
it's easy because you ain't never been offered it. It's easy for you to say you wouldn't do it. It's easy for you to stand on your principle and be all principled and things until that actual. They lay that actual money in front of you and say, stack up. This is yours. You can put this in your bank account tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
like when
it's life changing. Yeah.
You always hear people say, man, I wouldn't have took that deal. Yeah, because they wasn't offering it to you.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have took it. It wasn't your deal. That's why you wouldn't have took it. Like to the same thing Dave said, and to the point. No, I don't know, Rich, to answer your question. Like I don't know what I would and wouldn't do. I know I have integrity, and I know that my character is. I feel like I have great character. I feel like I have great people around me that influenced my character throughout my life and even today. So I know that I wouldn't lose my integrity, but I also don't know what I would say no and wouldn't say no to in that room when it's 40 million on the other side of the table.
We got
changing money for everybody that know, like for my, like not even for me, for everybody that knows me. You're talking about a totally different lifestyle for people, like changing lives overnight. When that money's sitting on the table in front of you, I don't know what the fuck I would do.
Yeah, I might have to ask, like, what does 15 million give me? Like, what can I keep with 15? Like,
and then
you keep the other 25, and I keep doing it.
Like, it may be some stuff. Well, like, you know what? I'll take 20. Like, can we do this?
Asking all that for 40, I'm cool, but I'll take 20 and do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, but that's not gonna work because they came to you. That's what,
because it came to you.
They want you to do what they want you to do, and that's the problem. I mean, it sounds easy to say no. I only, but you know, it's, you look at I mean, this real situation is going on with the Bus family right now. Yeah, they pushed. They told Jeannie Bus, all her siblings said, "Fuck you." Boom. This real money. They talking about 12.5 billion. And his siblings, she was like, "I'm not trying." No, you can't sell it to them. They was like, they worked her monk ass right out that shit and sold it, right? So 12 billion was worth their sisters. Like, you know, they looked at their own blood and said, for 12.5 billion.
And they got beef. Like, she fired her brothers before. Like, that's another part of that thing. So, it's not like everything's cool between the family. That's also, like, man, we ain't fucking with you for years. Like,
exactly.
That's easy.
So the business at some point with the family the money became more important than the family. It was like, hey, Jenny was like that on that side, and then when they got the opportunity to sell it, they got their get back. They said, all right, boom, we about to run you out and sell this shit.
I think when you start getting into those numbers, I think money is always going to be the determining factor. You're just too far gone,
right,
to even consider morals and ethics. I don't think, I don't know if I said this on here before or not, but I don't think there's any morally ethically clean billionaires. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, that's an oxymoron. It just doesn't make sense.
It don't
behind every great fortune is a great crime or a great tragedy.
America don't even work like that.
That's the point.
Exactly. So
that way.
Yeah. And I think
people go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I think when you talk about 12.5 billion, you like, man, we'll get back cool at some point. Like, there's enough cheese stacked here that I'd rather take the cheese and then try to figure out the relationship than refuse the cheese, and then the relationship still is going to be jacked up because we still going to be mad at each other.
This has nothing to do with anything. I'm just curious on your thoughts. Yes. Do you believe there should be billionaires? Like, when you look at, go ahead. I want to get because I'm genuinely curious about this because I'm always a fan of people getting their money. If you earned your money and you got it, then I'm not here to tell you what to do with it or tell you shouldn't have it. I'm a big believer in that because if I had it, I don't want nobody telling me that. But also, there's way too many needs in this world, and there shouldn't be so many people. Like, I think Silicon Valley, if I'm not mistaken, holds 70% of the nation's wealth, like all in that one region, 70 or 80% in one region. You know, there's 900 millionaires, if I'm not mistaken. So 900 millionaires or billionaires in the country. Maybe billionaires.
It's more than 900 millionaires. Yeah, so
it's 900 billionaires.
There's 900 millionaires in the NBA. I mean,
fair. That's good point. Either way, I'll say all that to say.
I don't knock nobody making their money. I feel like if you create something that gets you to that point, then fine. But I do think it should be different rules, though. Like you said, there's too many people that are going without for somebody to for that 1% of people to be hoarding all the money. Like, this world could be a completely different place if people wasn't hoarding money. So if they were able to enforce different rules and make it almost deter you from making that billion and keeping it, you can make it, but it should be be going towards real change.
Here's the problem:
real shit.
Our tax structure is created so the billionaires pay the least, right? And that's where it's screwed up. I mean, if you make that kind of money, you got to pay a hefty tax bill. Like, you gotta give back in a healthy way that is like,
because they tax most. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but I'm assuming I think they tax most on income. Yes, and most people who have billions of dollars don't receive a salary. They're not making income from anywhere.
Exactly.
Their money is in stocks. Their money is in holdings. Their money is in all these other places. So it's not getting taxed the way that our everyday people that make a salary is getting taxed. So that's why I think the scales are so off.
So the way they do it is it's in, like you said, it's in stock options trust where they're not the owner. The trust is the owner of the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I am the one who gets to make all the decisions. So this trust has $1 billion in it, right? I need $100,000 to buy this, whatever. I just borrow from the trust, and so I'm not paying myself I'm borrowing $100,000 from the trust. That it's my money, so I really don't have to pay it back. So if I never pay it back, there's no tax implications for me to pay it back. I just write it off as a loss. I know it wasn't paid back; it was a loss. So I get to write that off as a tax break again, because I took an L for some money I borrowed against my own damn self. So it's a lot of little tricks that they got that they can play, which we don't. Poor people don't have. Poor people are paying 40% on every $10 they make, they paying $4 out in taxes. And it's the highest rate on the lowest income people, and that's where I think it's got you're going to create a revolution. I mean, people are going to revolt at some point against the billionaires if it keeps happening where they control all the money and people can't even buy a house no more. I mean, we're already getting here. This is the largest inventory of houses that it's ever been in a long time, in years in American history, because people can't afford to buy houses. They're working, got a job, got an education, and can't afford to buy a house. Like that's not how the system is supposed to work.
Facts. And the wealth gap is wider than it's ever been. More people at the top, and people way further down at the bottom than they ever been. The middle class is essentially being eliminated. Another thing that I wanted to hit on before we got into the main topic, Dave, that I throw it to you on was the Stephen A. Smith thing. For those that don't know, they don't follow sports, they haven't really been paying attention to this. And I want to tell this story, but I want to preface it with saying I think something is amiss. This is a fishy story to me, and I explain why. The National Association of Black Journalists gave Stephen A. Smith their thumbs down award. And what that is people who have been detrimental to Black culture throughout the years. I think the Washington Post also received it. I want to say the New York, Washington, I think the one that Jeff Bezos owns, whatever that is, and the New York Post, I believe, also received it. In previous years, Essence Magazine has received it. In previous years, I think BET even received it one year. So it's not this thing where they're picking on Stephen A. Smith, but this year Stephen A. Smith received it. And what they were saying is he needs to do better. They were talking about his criticism of Michelle Obama. They were talking about his criticisms of Kamala Harris. They were talking about his his criticisms of Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett, I believe he said that she used street terminology and was trying to appeal to street people and was being, this is my word, he didn't say this, but he was saying she was being ghetto. Right. And that's not going to get the job done in DC, he was saying. That she's not doing or presenting in the right way in that room in order to get things done for her constituents. And he was on her for a minute about that. With Vice President Harris, he said that he would never vote for her again. Her campaign was ran terribly, and that he just would never vote for her again. And he's mad that he did vote for her. And with Michelle Obama, I'm not sure what the criticism was for her. I don't know what he said to her. But those things were some of the things that they pointed out in giving him this award. And his response was to go to social media and say, okay, well, if y'all coming at me, then I'm going to air out y'all dirty laundry too, which I felt like was despicable. Like, if you had a problem with them prior, why not say them before they said something to you? So that just looks terrible. But even beyond that, Stephen A. Smith has all the shows that he does on ESPN, where, yeah, of course, I know he's not going to address this, but he does have his own platform that is very popular that he could have addressed this on, but he chose not to. And he went to Fox News to address it with Sean Hannity, I believe. And a lot of the criticism has been that you run into the white man to talk about the problems that we're having within our community, or that we called you out. We called you out over here instead of like redressing us or let's have a back and forth. You go to white mouser and you say, look what they saying about me. I think, and why I say something is afoot, as like I just thought of this yesterday, because I was on the side of, well, yeah, Stephen A. Smith, he tone deaf. He's cooning. Like, you run the Fox News and trying to appeal to them. But I think this looked like a ploy to me. This looked like a ploy with him being, because one, what made me think of this, and I didn't realize it, I forgot that Trump was at the National Association. They let him come speak. Maybe a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm not sure y'all, but they got a lot of backlash with Trump being there. And with that information, I was thinking, well, maybe them and Stephen A. Smith did, because of how Stephen A. Smith responded and where he responded, it seems like they may have been in cahoots because they knew how big of a story this would be.
You said they, you mean NABJ,
the National
and
Black, yeah, them and Stephen A. Smith. Let's put this thing together. It'll blow up. And I'm going to, this crowd that I'm trying to appease to, which is the right. We've seen him try to appease this crowd here lately with the things that he's catering towards. This crowd that I'm trying to appease to, I'm going to take this criticism from my community, take it over there to their community, and try to get sympathy in order to build my foundational fan base. So when I do make a political jump or whatever it may be, not only do I have the black people who think they were wrong for criticizing me and who gonna stick beside me and who've been there, now I have these white folks who I done went over here and tap dance for and told them all these black people would treat me bad. And I'm combining that and looking more like a centric candidate if I want to run for president or want to run for office, which I feel like he's trying to do. I don't know if it's president, but maybe office, something political. And I just think he's trying to broaden his political fan base. At first, I thought this was just him being really tone deaf, but I think he's a little bit smarter than that. So they're now it's looking like, and I know I'm wearing the conspiracy theory, straw hat, tinfoil hat, or whatever it may be, but the more that I think about this and how this played out and what he did, I feel like they may have been in bed together and manufactured this whole thing.
That's shout out to you on the tinfoil hat, because it's not. I'll say I don't believe it, but I've also lived enough life to not be surprised if it came out that way. It's not far fetched and it's not unbelievable. I just don't think that the NABJ would. I think they were sincere about that, and I don't think they would use that ploy. But once again, I wouldn't be shocked if it came out that was the case. So it's an odd. They're salesmen, man. And Stephen A. We regardless of who he's selling it to, the audience has changed over the years. You know, Spike Lee, me and you talk about it all the time. He can sell it. Stephen A. can sell it. He's WWE, the whole nine. He can do all of that. And I didn't think about it in that sense. But what do you think the main factor was to make you think that something was afoot with that? Like,
because it don't make sense for him to, like, it does not make sense for him to go to Fox News to rebuttal this. That makes no sense at all. Every other time he's gone on his platform, he makes money from his platform. He has a very large platform. It makes no sense to go sit down with Sean Hannity unless I'm trying to appeal to that crowd. Why would I be trying to appeal to that crowd?
I'm gonna tell you. You ready?
Well, he's been doing that. And I'm sorry, real quick, Dave. So he's been on Fox News multiple times. The only thing, and I saw somebody say it. I guess it falls under the belief of that's who Stephen A. is now. So you either believe that or you don't. If you believe Stephen A. Smith is that person, which he's kind of been gearing towards, but everything you said, Spike Lee, makes sense. He's been building this up and ramping it up because he's trying to appeal to a different base. So you either believe he's that or you believe that he's tone deaf. It's one of the two. And those are your options. Somebody said it online, like when you hurt, you go home. You know, when everything was going bad for Vincey Chase and Entourage, nigga went back to Queens.
Back to New York.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I want to hear what you got to say, Dave.
Well, you know, ESPN, Disney, ESPN was bought out by a Republican, right? That's why the changes are happening. You can see it happening in real time. The bringing what's that dude, McAfee to the front, and they gave Steven a big contract after that purchase, and I just believe they brought him into the back rooms, and he became their boy. They like, hey, we need you to push our agenda that we're trying to push, and because ESPN went from the Jamil Hills and all the super black women to now, you know,
conservative.
And I think Stephen has political aspirations, and they told him in those back rooms, we can king make you. But you got to do what we need you to do. We need you to, all the agenda of the MAGA agenda is anything non-white supremacist is a threat to America. It's a threat to our American way. It's a threat to that's the messaging, right? And Stephen is carrying that message.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It's just it's ironic. I think that's just who he is now.
Yeah, but for him to attack anybody for whatever ghetto, I mean, his whole act has been that. He has been
loud,
ghetto,
boisterous,
just that whole, black character up until now. He wants to be a different character. And he's, friends with Trump. He's friends with the MAGA group. He's in that clique. And any black dude that you see in that clique got to go out and shuffle for them white folks on TV. You watch all of them. Got to. Tim Scott, got to. The dude in Florida, got to. Got to. Every time they're on the TV, got to. They always got something to say about our community. They're not talking about what they want to do. And then, so if you're trying to pull us in, how are you trying to pull us in? What are you trying to do to help our community? What is it that you're trying to do? Don't just tell us what we are and how bad we are and how ghetto we are. Nobody needs that. I mean, so, and the whole thing, even with when they started making laws, when the Constitution was written, and then fast forward to emancipation, all of that was trying to get. Even when you talk about the reservations, they took the Indians and made them go to these white schools, dress different, lose their traditional wear. They need you to conform. And the problem with us, when we are authentic, when EYL is authentic, they grow in great, it explodes. When any of these platforms are authentic, it explodes. And then it reaches the point where you got to go talk to some white folks. And it changes.
That kind of circles back all to what I said earlier about what's your line, because
exactly.
Stephen A. obviously he might have had a line at one point, and they put him in that room. They said 60 million annual, not full term, annually per year.
A year,
yes, and that might be, just to kind of carry y'all water. Sure,
yeah. And and then you try to act like you don't understand why black people don't understand you no more. Yeah. Right. You try to act like you haven't changed the conversations, like you haven't shifted the narratives. I
think that's a real conversation. I think that I genuinely believe that a lot of people get to that level, and that's sincere from them. I think Stephen A. sincerely doesn't understand why people look at him a different way. I genuinely. I don't think he's doing that part for show. I think he's lost. He's so out of touch that a lot of people, what they do is look at what I've done. Look at what I've done. Look at what I've done.
That's the first thing he go to too. That's that was his defense here. Look at all the people. Look at all the black journalists I put on. Look at all these people that are working in Hollywood or in sports because of me. That's his go-to. But you're right. My bad.
No, go ahead.
You're right, and it's not just him. I was having a conversation with Nick yesterday on Dead End Sports, and he was talking about how some of his homeboys in his group chat was like, they doing Stephen A. dirty. He was like, he ain't really done. Like, he was like, what'd he do? Like, specifically, what did he do to this person, and what did he do to this person? And I was telling Nick about the things he said about Jasmine and everybody else, and it was still met with a like, okay. And he said his homeboy was saying, like, when black men get to a certain position, they make it a point to turn us against our community. And I just didn't get it. I wasn't picking up what he was putting down. Like, I couldn't get there to what he was saying. So I want to throw it out there to y'all to see if y'all understood. But essentially, what he was saying is they're targeting Stephen A.
Who is targeting
this now?
When you say they,
our community, he said our community is targeting him because of the success that he's seen.
He's been successful for 20 years, though.
Exactly. This gentleman's stance was
yes.
He's reached the pinnacle of his career now, and he's doing it as a black man, and he's at the top of his industry. And now we want to look at him like, you think you too good, this, that, and the third. And I was like, bro, I don't think that's what's happening.
That's not it at all.
Nah,
I don't think that's what's happening. But there are people out there with that sentiment.
And I don't know why. Why? Based on what? Are you, I mean, it's he is the one change. He changed.
It ain't a witch hunt.
And here's the thing. If he was consistently saying other people were idiots that were white politicians, he might could get away with it. But when Trump called him an idiot, Trump called Stephen an idiot. And he apologized, went on and shook and said, he understood why he called him that and all that shit. So he didn't get all offended when Trump called his ass out. But, in the black community calls him out, he's got to go tear everybody down. That's my problem is, consistently, if you got something to say about one group all the time, and it's always just one group, you got a problem with that group.
Mm-hmm.
You either know enough or you don't. You either know too much or you don't know enough with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we just stand with things. And what I mean by that is looking back. So this is directly to what was told to you, Spike Lou. Stephen A. Smith has done enough in the past 5 or so years, maybe longer, maybe shorter, 5 or so years to make me say, "Oh, okay, this is who dude is." Whether he part of the jokes or not, this is who dude is. This is what he's believed. This is the rhetoric that he's deciding to spit out. Right? He might have been that 20 years ago when he had his own talk show talking to Allen Iverson and all that other stuff. He could have been that when we thought he was a up and coming cool dude. That's when we didn't know enough about him, which is cool. You can be in that space and you can operate. Now we know too much about you. Now we realize that's who you really are. Now it's the other way. I can't rock with you because I know too much. You know what I mean? So I think part of it is too disappointment because I don't think anybody really saw that from Stephen A. Going back to the point I just made. We thought you was cool. We thought you was down with one of us. You had the late night show. You was cool with the NBA cats. You spoke our language. You did put black people on. It looked like it was different. It's almost like for our generation, it's almost like if Stuart Scott would have done this. Right? Stuart Scott was so down and such a trailblazer that if you saw him doing all this, you would have been like, no, not Stuart. Anytime that happens, right? I think we all do that. If there's a black person, going back to Jay, same sentiment. Everybody, no, not you. And when you listen to Jay talk, at least for me, being a fan, I'm like, he believes this. Like he believes this. He doesn't understand where the harm is, or he does, the whataboutisms, which can be dangerous. But he also never lied to anybody. And me and you, Spike Lou, we've had conversations about this where I told you, like, the Jay-Z we grew up on that we know and love is different. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. He's just not that person. You can't be.
Right.
You just can't be that person anymore when you're worth $3 billion. Like, you got to change and your whole outlook change. So I'm cool with that, but not everybody else can accept that. And that's why you get the skeptics like, well, you this, and this, or you did X, Y, Z. I think he does a lot for the community. Both of them. I say, all right, you can do a lot for the community and help people.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't mean that you did in some sense choose something to kind of represent.
Right. And then you get to when you make a certain level of money. I mean, Stephen A., like you said, he's making $60 million a year just from ESPN. So there's no telling what he's making outside of that in investments. So he could be pulling down 100 mil plus a year. What happens when you're doing that is when you go out, you're not hanging with nobody from your hood no more. Like, there's only a small group of people that can hang with people who make that kind of paper. Like, the group is just tiny. Like, Stephen A. is talking about, for a week, he's like, I call y'all up and I say, I'll meet y'all down in Atlanta. I'm driving, right? And Mike Holly, one of y'all, let me stay with you. Stephen A. calls his people like, let's get on this private plane and let's go, blah, blah. Like, it's only a few people that can do those things. So you start getting into those groups for long periods of time, 5, 10 years, and they become your friends. And their way of thinking starts to bleed over into your way of thinking. You start seeing the world a lot like they see the world, which is not always pro-black.
Facts.
Most of the time it's not pro-black. And that's just by your association. Eventually you're going to associate with people because your friend. I mean, the good one thing that goes unmentioned that didn't get mentioned enough about LeBron James is how he put his people on and brought them up with him to those levels, and the ones who wanted to do it right, the ones who wanted to put the work in, he managed to find those people in his group and bring them up, and so he still has a core group of friends. But I bet you that group, there's some people that was in that group in high school that they can't.
They're gone.
That is like they sellouts. They this, they that. Because you can't hang with them no more. You can't do nothing I do. Well, unless I'm footing the bill, unless I'm gonna pay for you to do everything. And as a man, like you just don't do that to other men. Like, I'm just not paying for everything for you.
That's real.
I don't care if I got money. I'm just not doing that. And
you gotta bring some money. You
right?
just can't come broke.
Yeah. And so, but the things we're doing, you can't even like. Yeah. What the ticket costs to get on the front row you can't get your whole salary. You don't fuck up a whole 6 months worth of salary just to come do one thing we doing. And
it's too. I think me and you talked about this, Dave, and Rich, you and I have talked about this before too. Even if I do be like, you know what, I'm taking care of it. The other stuff that's gonna come with it, like you still gonna be in an uncomfortable position because you're not used to doing shit like this.
Exactly.
I can pay for the whole weekend and the trip, but like nigga, you still gotta eat. I gotta pay for your food too. How you gonna go have fun on your own?
Right.
Like it's just like you said that they're different experiences that LeBron and shit is doing. Well, like, bro, you need me to do what? I gotta give you how much?
I mean, you in the room, and then. You say you hollering at some chicks. Well, she think you a billionaire. You know what I mean? So you like hollering at her and she feeling it, and then she like, so where we going next? And you like,
well, but they
Outback. Like, what you gonna take a picture Outback? Like, because you can't now. If you try to break off and go do your own thing. The experience is gonna change dramatically for whoever. You can't even like make friends with dudes, and they like, hey, well, let's go to this. We finna go in the morning. We flying out to Malibu. We gonna go to the country club and play 18 holes of golf. And you like, the way my bank account work,
right?
Yeah, I mean,
like we finna go down to the casino, but we sitting at the $100 blackjack table. Like we're not doing the $5 joint. Like it's like you can't. Sorry,
you can't keep up. Like you said, even if they bought your plane ticket, your hotel room, like you always walking up to the big dude like you his bitch. Like, hey man, can you buy my drink? Hey man, can you?
Hey,
my dinner bill just came. It's $1,000. Hey, my
Nip said it best, man. Circle got smaller. Everybody can't go.
Everybody can't go.
Shout out to Hove again, man. Hey, we all fish. We all fish. Better teach your folk.
Exactly.
That's the only way to live, man.
You can't eat. The next week you broke.
Exactly.
Straight up. You got it. You better be able to fish if you're coming around.
Yeah.
You can't, man. You ain't like you said. I think even as a man, I wouldn't even feel
right. Yes.
I wouldn't even feel comfortable going up to Lou.
Hey.
I know you normally take care of everything.
Exactly.
Got this little what?
What?
The same way you shouldn't even be able to picture me doing that. Like,
exactly.
I can't picture doing it myself.
Right.
Like,
and then if you got a woman,
you couldn't even get it out right there for play.
No, like what?
And then if you got a woman, your woman's gonna be like, "The fuck you got? You
want to do what?
You buying bill everything? Like you paying for everything? Really?
Facts.
Anyway, that's insane. That's insane. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation, man. Hit us up and let us know what you think about Stephen A. What you think about EYL controversy and everything that's going on, and what we just as a community owe each other, and what we need to get better at in those spaces. And I am curious because it's not crazy. I want to hear what y'all think about Spike Lee's idea or his thoughts on this being a part of a bigger scheme or bigger plan between the two. Because it's not, it happens more than we think. Let's put it like that. It's happened more than we think. So it's not out the realm of possibility. So yeah, absolutely. But I do want to transition the conversation kind of into the main sequence of what we're here for. We're book 2, chapter 73. Obviously, it's not First Friday, but we do got our good brother Dave Swett with us. Appreciate you as always.
Yes,
thanks for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you here. with us. But you mentioned us. You sent us a text message last week. I think a week ago from today, actually. And you had mentioned that you wanted some time to speak about your good friend that you lost, Jamie Isabel.
Jamie Isabel, yep.
Jamie Isabel,
man.
R.I.P. to Jamie Isabel. Somebody you actually said you planned on having on as a co-author on one of the first Friday series, and you wanted to kind of talk about losing people, losing peers more than anything. I know we've had discussion about grief, and myself and Chaz talked about losing our fathers, but there is something different about losing a peer.
Yes.
Versus losing a parent or something like that. Dave, I kind of want to just hand the floor over to you, kind of get, your thoughts on what you're going through right now. You know what I mean? Those emotions, how you feel about this phase of life, and obviously the legacy of Jamie and what he meant to you and to the community and everybody else that knew him.
Yeah, Jamie, first, I met Jamie in 1986 in college, Tennessee State, at the sub. He was running for class president. He's a couple of years older than me, so he's probably a junior at the time. And he has a very distinctive voice. I mean, very, very, very loud, very Memphis. And he's funny as hell, like one of the funniest people you ever, just naturally funny. Physical comedy too, because he's kind of, he's all over the place and he talks with his hands. Yeah, tall guy. And, and Jamie was a politician when I met him. I mean, he was an aspiring politician. He was into politics early in his life. And then he transitioned and got into business where he was, his first business was Dalmatian Creative Agency, where he did like for example, our t-shirts, if we were to do t-shirts or whatever promotional items, he did promotional items and stuff for businesses, and then transitioned into BNA and has actual stores in BNA today. It's called Threads, Nashville Threads, I believe. But
okay, you sent us a photo. He was Fly Nashville. Was that
Fly Nashville is Nashville's the airport's website. They just were putting a post about him. But yeah, he had his businesses out there, and Nashville Threads, is his business. And Jamie would call you up in the mornings. He was consistent with, and just start, trying to fuck with you or get into your head, say something crazy to you to throw you off, and just crack up laughing. And he would make you laugh all the time. And he was consistent. I mean, he probably had 10 or 15 people that he would do that to, maybe more. And he always checked in on you. And I was at my dad's tonight. The reason why we started a little later was and we were talking about Jamie. He was at my dad's when we went to Puerto Rico. He went to that trip. What was it called? Puerto Rico? I can't remember. But anyway, we were looking at his video and just laughing. He's talking, about my dad and talking about, he made a living selling hog maws, pig feed. I mean, he was just the way he goes. He's saying it. It's just, he has his own way of saying stuff. And he's got 3 children. His wife, he's been dating since college. So they've been together probably 40 years now, more. And, it's just amazing. I mean, I couldn't wrap my head around it because he's so full of life. Like when I first got the news, which was Monday, the Monday prior to last week, and his funeral is Friday. And, it just really put in perspective that you don't know. I mean, we live this life and we have no idea. He called my dad 6:30 that night before he died. And my dad didn't answer the phone. And and my dad was the first person to call me that morning and tell me, because he called him back. And that's how he found out what had happened. And he passed in his sleep. And seemed like a relatively healthy guy. I mean, I know he went to the Y. I don't know if he had any health problems. I have no idea about those things. But it's just amazing that, how it ends. It's just over one day. And he's working his business. And, and Jamie didn't have I remember I used to joke with Jamie because he didn't have a passport 3 or 4 years ago. And I used to say, man, you got to get it. How do you not have a passport, right? And you don't go out of the country? I'm like, you work, you got all this stuff you've done, and, and it's just, I was telling Lou, I've never talked to a person on their dying bed, and they said they wish they could have worked another day. They wish they could have spent a little more time in the office. They wish they could have did a little bit more planning on their job, you know, and I've really reflected on, because I was one really pushing myself to doing the stuff that I say I want to do, you know, not just say it, not just put it there and say, hey, you know, and I have done that. I mean, it's been a part of my last few years, but even more, like even the property I got, I've been saying I'm gonna build a house next year. I'm gonna build a house next year, you know, and I haven't set a date. Like, what does that look like? When? I just keep kind of saying it, right? Because I haven't sat down and really said, okay, what does that look like? How do we do it? And how does it happen? And I think that's easy for us to just keep pushing the can down the road on things that that are easy to push down the road, and then all of a sudden your life ends and you didn't do the stuff that you thought you wanted to do or felt like you should do. And, you know, I was just talking to, I was like, how many more summers do I have? I don't know. You know, is it 10 more, 20 more summers? Maybe 30. Possible, you know, but I know it's under 50. I doubt I'll go another 50 summers. And if I do, you know, it'll be a blessing. But chances are that's not going to happen. So when you start putting it in terms of, you know, really thinking about it, like how many summers you got to kick it, to have a good time left? You know, how many Christmases do you have to spend with your parents and your family and people that you love, and really, really, really take that in and take that time in. So I think it's important to really reflect on your life and take some time away from the social media, away from death scrolling, away from the crazy news articles and the crazy news all the time, and cut out some life. What gives you life? What gives you that feeling that you're living, that you're actually a human being, and you're enjoying the human experience of what it was meant to be? Because we weren't designed just to work all the daggone time and just try to figure out how to make more money. You need money, obviously, right? You can't do much without money, but it's not everything. Your life is way, way, way more important to people. And that's what you don't realize until somebody's gone. Like, I can't have that conversation with him anymore, ever again. And I can't laugh at him calling me and I cuss his ass out first thing in the morning, ever again. And because he would always say, "What you doing?" I was like, "Are you the fucking police? What you care what I'm doing?" Like, that was how we talked to each other, though. But it was, you know, and you know, he was just crack up laughing on the other phone, and he knew that irritated me. Like, for somebody, I hate for people to call me and ask me what I'm doing. What do you want? Like,
I hate that too. I hate it. Where you at? What you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, what do you want? What you want? Like, tell me what you want. Stop asking me what I'm doing. So
I feel like people be trying to box you in. They want to ask you something, so they add, "Well, yeah, what you doing?" Right. Then they want to add that,
and then they can guilt trip you if you're not doing something important before
depends on what you need.
Yeah, before they ask you what you're doing, right? So, and I bookworm. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah,
I was just going. I didn't want to cut you off. I had the pleasure of meeting Jamie a couple times. Yeah, and it was like you said. I didn't know who this big tall. I'm saying this this is not a dig, but I'm like, who's this big goofy? Like who is this dude? And I remember specifically asking my mom that. She's like, "Oh, that's Jamie. He liked it." Yeah, and I wasn't asking in a like irritated way. It was just interesting. Like, who is this nigga right here? And from then on out, every time I had an interaction with him, we always shared a laugh. He was really funny. I know my mom had said every time he called your dad, she would tell him, put it on speakerphone. I gotta hear him because I know he gonna say something to make me laugh. I gotta hear it.
Yes. He is. He brought laughs all the time.
Facts. It's the typical Memphis. Like that's how many guys from Memphis are. But what I wanted to comment on in the observation, it's different losing a friend. I know in 2004 I lost one of my best friends. They had a heart disease, and it's one of those things where, for me at least, and you can speak to it, Dave. It's the grieving process on it is interesting because, like, it's not a family member, but it's someone that you knew and you around every day and that you loved like a family member. But you don't get bereavement days for friends. Like you don't really get that time set aside that people give you that grace for, if it's a mother or a grandmother or a father. When it's a friend, it's like people expect you to be hurt, but they also expect you to, like, all right, man, life go on and you gotta keep it rolling, keep it rolling. But it sit with you. Like, it's been 22 years. I still think about my homeboy. Like, probably on a day, if not a daily basis, at least once a week. Like, damn, man, I tell you what, it would be dope if he was still here and got to see this or see us doing this. Like, there would be things that we would all be out doing as friends post his death, and it briefly come in my mind, like, man, I wish Dante was here, man. Like, it would be dope if he was here. Cause like he was the light, like, similar to what you saying about Jamie. My friend in the past, we call his nickname was Party Guy.
Right.
Like, that's what we called him. Like, everywhere, like, it was on and popping when he was around, and that's what he was known for. And here we are 22 years later. It had me thinking about it as you were talking about it, Dave. It's just, it never leaves you. It's just a little thing that's just always sitting with you, because you wonder, what if?
Right.
What if he was still around?
Do either one of you? I lost. Shout out to Ronnie Sutherland, man. I still remember where I was, who gave me the phone call, all of that stuff when it happened, because it was hey, Ron was in an accident. It ain't looking good, and then 5-6 minutes later, got the call. Hey, man, he gone. That's a great perspective. What you just said, Spike Lou, as far as there is no bereavement, there is none of that. You kind of just have to pick up and go. And there's something I'll never forget going to that funeral, because I didn't have my first major loss until I was 18. So I didn't like grow up at funerals. You know, I was emotionally mature enough to like understand what death was and everything like that. So I remember how big of a deal it was. And I kind of, you get used to, I don't want to say used to, but my first major losses were my grandparents. You know what I mean? So my grandparents lived, you know, my grandmother, my dad's mom, she passed of cancer, but my other two grandparents were 79, 82. So you kind of just have to, all right, they lived a good life. You appreciate that. It's something about looking at somebody that's like, nah, bro, this ain't right. Like, this ain't, you ain't supposed to be there. And Ron was the same way. Ron has so much life. Anytime I watch the movie Life, like, I think of, because the way he would quote, or Barbershop, the way he would quote, said the entertainment, he was just the life of like the party. So even on top of that, seeing somebody so like full of life to be lifeless, it's like, damn, man, this ain't really, this don't feel right. I want to ask both of you, is there a little bit of survival remorse in a sense of just, damn, man, like, why, not even remorse, but just in a sense, do you look deeper into life as far as like, why is that not me? You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing that's not me? How did it happen to somebody so good? Anything of that nature? Do your mind even go there?
For me, I look at it like, it's amazing. You know, some people live one day, less than a day. Some people live 100 plus years. And it makes me realize that, you know, each life just is that. We all have a time clock. I don't know what it's going to be. For whatever reason, you're plucked out of this world and you got so many years. And I think you have to focus on your life and not worry about, spend too much time on. I mean, you know, there's no explanation for why, you know, why Jamie is no longer here. And the realization that I can't call him anymore, can't have a conversation with him. But his memories are still very vivid in my mind. The conversations I've had with him, very vivid in my mind. It just makes me realize, like, even with my own family and my own friends and the show and everything I'm involved in, live it, give it all that I have to the best of my ability. Be authentic. And when we, you know, kind of talking about the money thing, you know, for me, I want to make money. I'm not sugarcoating it, right? Money makes my life easier. It makes me able to do things I want to do. But I'm not sure how much I would want to change our platform over money. And I say that to say, you know, kind of like Karen, like Rich was saying, you know, Yeah, we make a few million. I'm cool. Do I need 100 million to go on here and start to sell out the people who started?
A. Smith.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Not for me, right? I don't think that's something I would want to do. But again, nobody's put $100 million check in front of me with my name on it and said, "This is yours. All you got to do, boom, boom." So it's a lot easier for me to say that now. I will admit to that. But I think as people, my class reunion was this past weekend, and we had a memorial of the people that were no longer here. And I didn't realize, until we started going through it, there's 49 people in my class that have passed away. 49, that's no longer here. That was in the halls, that were in the classrooms, that were a part of the teams. All the things. And when they started showing the pictures and, going back, showing their pictures in high school and then kind of showing their pictures through it was hitting me man, we're lucky to still be here. Don't take it for granted what you still have. You have the gift of life, and the gift of life is worth living. It's worth enjoying. It's worth trying to find joy, not always just grinding, working, stressing, fearing, worrying about the next day, because it might not be here.
For me, I won't say survivor's remorse. I would more so say survivor's appreciation, actually. We was in our 20s, man. And when I say we every day, me and my friends hung together every day during our college years, every day. I'm not exaggerating when I say this.
I know how it is. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah, every day we were around each other. So when he passed, it wasn't a remorse thing about surviving. What it did do is put a clock on it to what David was saying. For me, I don't know, and we can talk to Dro because he was that's part of the same clique, and he comes on. We can talk to other people, but it made me appreciate the friends that were here more, because we was outside doing a lot of shit that we wasn't supposed to be doing, and could have went another way. But more of us could not have been here. Fortunately, it didn't happen that way. And some of them may have had to do with, there was a new focus when that happened to him, even though it wasn't violent or anything like that. It was, like I said, a heart disease. But all of us kind of looked at it like, damn, we expected him to be here. He'd gotten sick, of course, but we still expected him to be around. Maybe not in his full capacity that we knew him as, because he had complications and then had things that he had to go to the hospital and then was moving around, but he wasn't moving around like him. But we didn't expect that he was going to die, and he did. So to answer your question about it wasn't remorse, because we were all still happy to be here, be around each other. But for me personally, it was damn, man, this ain't forever, bro. This ain't gonna, when you're doing it and you're in it and you hanging with your homeboys every day, you think that this is about to be your life. We about to do this and live it up and do it all these different things and ways, and we always gonna be around each other damn near every day. That's what you think at that age, which is totally unrealistic. Now, if we all at this age know that, but that's not how we looked at it. But when that happened, it did put it made me look and appreciate my homeboys close. And it's different from when a family member dies. For me, when my grandmother died, which probably was one of the most painful deaths for me, all I wanted was for her to be back. It wasn't, and even still, it wasn't. I appreciate some person more because she's gone. I just wanted her back. That's what mattered to me. But with the friend situation, it was damn, we lost a really good guy. We still all have each other. We all have experienced this together. We need to make sure that we make the most of the time that we have here together, whether it be hanging out together. And that's why all of us, that's part of the reason why we're so close still to this day. You know what I'm saying? So, no, it wasn't remorse. It was more so now this is real, dog. There's a time on this. You only have a certain amount of time to do this. You don't got forever. You don't, as Dave say, how many more summers do you have? I think that question hit me back then. That was 2004. And I remember that being at the front of my mind, like, bro, like, it's just, how much time do you have with these people? That was the main thing.
Do you ever think about, not to get too morbid, does anybody ever think about that time for them? Like, I think I might have expressed this before about still being at a place in life where nobody obviously wants to die in a sense. Like if you live in your normal life, your day to day, nobody's ever thinking like, oh man, now would be a good day to just check out. But there's also this feeling of, man, not right now. I'm just getting started, or I'm just doing this, or I just feel like I found this, I unlocked this new area of life, or whatever the case is. Does that ever cross y'all mind as far as like, man, how much time do I have? Because a lot of people have a gift of not even thinking of it, and I think a lot of people overthink it.
For me, I think it's the opposite for me. I think it can happen at any time. Not because I'm living recklessly or wild or anything like that, but that's just the reality of life. Yeah, like I said, my homeboy didn't die from no violence, nothing like that. He had a heart disease. So not, again, like you said, Rich, it ain't morbid or anything, but in my mind, I look at it like, bro, any day could be the day. And
but how does that make you feel?
I was going to speak to Dave's point on what you said and how that made me feel. I need to live more. Even though I have that thought that's still limiting things that I'll get. I was just saying this to Dave yesterday because he was saying we were talking about the living thing. And I was like, bro, I go 2, 3, 4 weeks with just, I ain't did shit but work. I ain't did shit but go to work, record podcasts, and rest from that. Ain't went out to nowhere to clear my head. Ain't went to do no exercise or do no run or do any of those things because I'm just so like in the what I'm doing right now. And it takes having a conversation, which is why I appreciate Dave. So like takes having a conversation here. When me and you talk on Monday, Rich, or when I'm talking to Dave for me to realize like, no, bro, you need to take a Saturday off, bro. Like go enjoy yourself. Like just go do something where you ain't watching a movie for a podcast and you ain't, just doing this in effort to try to build something from, but just enjoy yourself. It helps, it makes the thought in the front of my mind, but actually doing it is what I still need work on and getting into. Like I feel guilty sometimes. Like I know you said that Sunday, Rich, your Sundays in the beginning, you felt guilty because you're like, nah, I ain't doing shit. Like I feel guilty sometimes when I take those days or do those things, and I feel like I could knock this recording out then, or I could plan for this thing when I'm not doing anything. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around and get my mind to understand that it's okay to be like, nah, bro, like, no, you're not doing anything, bro. Go enjoy yourself.
I think anytime you take a long look at what you have going on in life, like, so first of all, it's dope that you're aware of that, right? That you can look up and say, damn, it's been X amount of time since I've done this. And then, of course, the next step is what's the action? What are you going to do? Did you plan that day? Have you planned a day for yourself?
I've been thinking about it since, but this was just yesterday when it came to me when Dave was talking. But no, I have not. I ain't even got to play golf that much this season. Like,
yeah,
I ain't
even then, like sometimes you need
that's usually my thing. That's my day. Like when I'm my phone off, hey, these 4 hours right here, it's over with. Like you ain't getting in touch with me. I'm not responding to no texts. I'm not looking at no social media. I got my music playing. I'm hitting bad and good golf shots, and I'm in my zone. But I ain't even done that in a long time.
I'll tell you just from my experience, because this is something I've just recently started doing. I told you the Sundays are just reserved for me, and that guilt is gone. I don't care about that no more. Like it's such a great feeling about building boundaries and just saying it's my life. And it's it's, I know I haven't brought up therapy in a while on here, but I just had a session yesterday, literally. And that's one of the things my therapist was talking to me about. Like, just it's okay to be it's okay to be the bad guy. Like, why do you care so much about X, Y, and Z? It is what it is. Like, make some time for yourself. Do what you need to do for yourself. And not ever since she said that, but I had already been leaning towards that. And that's more confirmation of, you know what? Take that day off, take the PTO, take the trip. You know what I mean? All types of stuff, man. Have these experiences, have these moments, because they make your day-to-day life that much better. your overall health even more so, like paying attention to those things. So I'll tell the story. I got a text I got to read from my sister too in regard to this. But even recently, I think I talked about it maybe a month or two ago where I went to the doctor and got labs done and, all this kind of other stuff just to check in. Black men going to the doctor is important. But also I did a sleep study. So I did a sleep study that same day, and it took like maybe 4 or 5 weeks, but I got it back. And I found out I got severe sleep apnea, which my pops had sleep apnea as well. I've been told I snore, but you never know to what extent. And I don't even know how many people, unless you're really big into like Reggie White, when he passed away from like sleep apnea and stuff like that. I don't even know if people know how dangerous it can be. And what it really means.
You literally stop breathing in your sleep.
Literally stop breathing. I'll stop 35 minutes, 35 times an hour.
I think that may have been what happened to Jamie, honestly.
Like sleep apnea. So I got I say all that to say I got my CPAP today. You know what I mean? Like I ain't even 40. And I did with CPAP. Looked like Uncle Junior when he had this little short, he was sitting on Soprano. But it's one of those things where I'm happy that I did it. Because now it's like, all right, because the first thought I had was, look at all the shit I've been doing on trash sleep. Like, what's gonna happen when I'm actually awake and refreshed and really my brain working at full speed and things like that? But not just that, but just being alert and aware enough to make sure I take advantage of all the things. So once again, I look at my pops. Pops has sleep apnea. That could have been a cause of what happened to him when he passed. And it's just taking that information, kind of what you said, right? Let's appreciate what we do have. So now I'm like, all right, then I don't want to go down the same path. Let me make sure I'm good. And what can I do to change this and live a long, fruitful life, or do what I can to make sure I'm here? Because I'm sure that's what people would want. You know what I mean? I know that's what your boy would want. That's what Ryan would want for me. That's what Jamie would want for you, Dave, to keep on living. Because I think I'm a big believer in it's our duty to keep those names alive, right? As long as we alive. Because there's going to be a day in time when there's going to be people walking this earth that never met us or doesn't know us at all, right? Everybody we ever knew, talked to, met, had an interaction with, friendship with, they no longer going to be around. So your legacy, I think, is you and the people that you interact with and the people that you touch. And I think we live with the mindset of legacy a lot. And I think we overthink it. Like legacy is sometimes the people that's just in your orbit. And that's all you're going to get. Like I think we try to make life more than what it is. And sometimes, to quote Sopranos, it's a big nothing. Like you got your people, you got the things that you've been blessed with, and that's your life. That's what it comes down to. Going to something you just said, Spike Lou, I'm gonna read a quote or read something that my sister sent me that took me off guard, just in the sense of like, what you thinking? Like, what you think about me right now? Because I'm always about improvement. I'm always about getting better. So she texted me to say, hey, I saw this and I thought about you. Your relationship with yourself cannot be built entirely around improvement. At some point, you have to become someone you are allowed to enjoy being. You get to be proud of who you are, present tense. And I'm sure this stemmed from a lot of times me and my sister talk. It's all about like what I'm doing next, what I got planned, how I'm building something, this, that, and the third. And I'm sure she saw it and wanted to. I think this is her way of making sure, like, hey, man, you're great. Like, enjoy that part too. And it goes back to what you said, Spike Lou. Like, enjoy those moments of being Spike Lou and having time to recharge your batteries or go golf and do things that you want to do, because that's important. Like who you are right now. Like, yeah, we all got levels to go to, but look how many lives you touched. You know what I mean? Whether you know it or not. Look at our relationship. I try to tell you as much as I can, bro. Like, I'm thankful for you, man. Like, David, same with you. Like, I'm so thankful that y'all brothers are in my life and have entered it into that way. And I think it was a good reminder to remember, like, yo, who you are right now, you worked. The same way you working on something to get to, you work to be this version of yourself right now. And unless we take some time, I think life is really about the time we stop and say, yo, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of the people around me. I'm proud of the things I'm accomplishing. Proud of my kids. Proud of my, parents. Proud of everything. And that's what you live about. I posted something in my story. Look, part of my story is like, part of my dream is also seeing you win. You know what I mean? In general, like that's just what life is for me. I want to see everybody eat and do well and unlock their talents. And we can't do that unless we take a little bit of time to just stop and breathe a little bit. So I think that's a challenge, not just for you, Lou, but for everybody out there listening. Myself, all that. We all need those reminders. And Dave, I think you're the walking definition of it. Like me and Spike Lou on the phone maybe a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, man, that's the life I want to live. Like every time I hit Dave up, he either catching a flight or he golfing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Catching a flight, golfing, and leaving on the cruise.
Like I talked to you. I made it a point to call David on the phone before he caught his flight to Charlotte a couple weeks ago. Like just because no other reason, just I wanted to chop it up with him. You know, I had a chance to talk, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna call you while you at the airport. And we did, and we just talked. It wasn't nothing. Hey, let's work on this. We just talked. I'm like, oh, you at this, and that's when he sent that picture of Sweats in our group chat. So we were on the phone. Like, I'm gonna send a picture of it. But it was that was just cool, and those are the moments that I appreciate because it's just taking those small moments to connect.
Yeah.
Go. So yeah,
man, that's what it is. I mean, when I think about, you think about your friends, and I think about Jamie, and you think about the guys. I don't think about any work, anything. I think about our relationship, the times that person made me laugh, the times they made my day a little lighter by their personality and infusing their personality into my world for a moment. And, but even when you look at us, we're humans, we're spiritual beings as well. And, the first thing the Bible says, is take a day of rest, right? It's even God worked 6 days and then the seventh day he rested. And I believe without rest makes you more creative. Rest makes you more of what you think you are. You think grinding does, but sometimes disconnecting, So I just like to go to the beach, put my feet in the sand and watch the sun rise early in the morning. And that's just the most pleasurable moment where the phone is not with me. Nobody can call me. I'm alone. I'm looking at the sky and I just watch the sun come up over the ocean and hear the waves crashing. And it's, it connects me back to the world and that we are natural people too. We're not just creators and workers and somebody depending on us to get something accomplished and somebody needing us to do something. We also need to feed our soul. We need to feed ourselves as well. And, you can't be a giver. You can't be somebody who helps somebody if you're not taking care of yourself first.
100%.
You're no good to nobody if you can't take care of yourself.
You took the words right out of my mouth, man. Can't be good to yourself. Can't be good to others if you ain't good to yourself. That's 100% facts, man.
That was very well said, Dave. And that was a great text, I feel like, from your sister. I feel like women notice those things in us because they hear us talk a lot about what we want to do and where we want to go and our aspirations and dreams because one, it's easier to share those things with them. They're more motivating, more nourishing. But also, I never forget when in my last relationship and having a conversation with my girl, and it was similar to what your sister said, Rich. And you explaining these things that you want to do and these places that you want to go. And she stopped me in the middle of it and she was like, but you already those things. Like the thing that you telling me that you working for and the thing that you trying, like I already look at you that way. Like you are that. Like you just need to continue to walk in the path and be the best version of it. But you thinking, she's like, I hear you talking and you thinking that you haven't made it to that place. That's crazy to me. When I'm watching you and I seen where you started and I see where you are now, you are that thing that you're explaining, like you're that. And I think we have a hard time wrapping our heads around that as men because we always feel like what you two were just saying, like what's the next thing? What am I building? What am I creating? What am I building that's worth something to the world and to people? When sometimes I know, especially for me, I don't do it enough. I very rarely, Rich, to your point, do I step back and be like, damn, look where I've made it to versus where I've come from.
Yeah. Dude, let me ask you this, because when you say that, my first thought is, well, who are you? Like to yourself? Like how do you view yourself? Because I think that's where a lot of the disconnect happens as well. I think a lot of times we don't see ourselves the way other people see us. So our point of view is obstructing what's really going on. So that's why your ex would tell you, like, I don't understand because you're already these things. It tells me that you probably don't look at yourself as that. Or maybe you feel like if I stop to acknowledge that I am this, it's going to take away from the path that I'm on to get even better or add more things there.
I think the perception that people have of me is really different from what I have of myself in my head. And I don't know if that's like that for everybody, for y'all, but yeah, like when I hear people say things about me or you know, just observations that they make, a lot of the times it's surprising to me because I never think about it that way. When you ask who I am, like I don't even know how to answer that, to be honest with you. I think that I feel how I wrap my mind around not being able to answer that for you, Rich, is like I feel like I present though my most truest self. I'm not different in different rooms. Like I'm the same person. I know me and Mo talked about this in book 1. I get to be myself, whether I'm going to my corporate job, whether I'm doing podcasts, whether I'm talking to y'all. Like it's gonna be Lou. Like you ain't gonna see me nowhere and be like, what the fuck is that? This nigga completely code switch. Who is that? I don't know how to. I can do it a little bit, but I can't all the way do it. So how I feel like when you say who are you, it's just like, what do you see me as? That's always my default. So it is a good question for me that we may have to revisit, but I don't know. I wouldn't know how to explain that when someone asks me that, if you asking that. Like I move in the sense of, and if someone had that question about me, is well, you're not paying attention because I'm telling you who I am when I walk in the room, when we have a conversation. You ain't got to dig or find for it. You're going to, like, all you got to do is talk or ask me a question. But that's still not necessarily an answer that suffices. As we're talking it out and I'm listening to y'all and I'm thinking about it, like that's a lazy answer, but that's how I look at it.
It's a much more difficult question to answer than what somebody might think, because we don't spend. It goes to the point of we don't spend time with ourselves enough to answer it.
Yeah,
you know what
like
I mean.
Beyond, like if someone really come up, like
go ahead.
Sorry,
go ahead. Sometimes we're scared of the answers.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
I mean, some people they lie to themselves more than anybody, right? Because they don't want to face the reality, of, for example, the reality of, Rich, you have sleep apnea. That's a reality, right? And some people just ignore that reality and go on living, and then they have the episode and it's over, right? The reality of I'm obese, the reality of I don't exercise enough, the reality of I don't take care of myself, I don't watch my diet. All those are realities that sometimes you got to face your own fears of accepting those things, or either saying, or accepting the fact that I'm going to be this way. I'm not just cool. I'm going to be overweight. I'm going to be unhealthy. I'm going to be, and that's the life I'm going to live. And that takes me to a death. It takes me to a death. But the not accepting the reality, I think sometimes is where people get lost when they don't truly face themselves and say, hey, what do I need to do? Like, what is the life? Like I asked you, like, do you ask yourself, what life do you want? Like, what is it that you really want? And like really peel down the onion and get down to the core and figure out what it is that you want out of life and then pursue it. Because life will live you. You might not, life is living a lot of people. It's not them living it, it's living them. It's moving them around. Yeah. It's doing whatever to them. And they're just reacting all day, every day to every situation versus, projecting and projecting the life that they want. And, and it's funny when you talk about guilt, because like people put guilt on you. Like people will call me up, friends or people who care about me and we're like, what are you doing today? I'm like, playing golf. You playing golf again?
Yeah.
Like, is he okay? Like, are you cool? Like, you good? Like, you playing? Like, you're not working? You're not doing this? You're not doing that? And they're projecting their life and their guilt's onto you. And then you start to bring that into a question. Well, should I be playing today? I mean, maybe I should be at work. I don't know. But you know, or when somebody calls me and I'm traveling, like you going again? I'm like, I'm going again. Yes. And if I could go tomorrow, I would go again. So, you know, get intentional. Like I tell people, like intention is one of the most powerful tools we have. You know, when you start to vision your life the way you want it, it will manifest into those things quicker. Your brain is the pathway. It is, you know, and that's why I tell people, careful what you consume, careful what you keep putting into your brain, careful. Protect your mind and your eyes, because they are what's going to lead you to whatever. If you start death scrolling and you just spend an hour, you looked up, you spent 2 hours looking at your phone, just doing this all day long, that day ain't coming back.
And to that, even to piggyback off that, one of the most dangerous ways you can wake up to that point, Dave, when you wake up and you be like, well, let's see what today brings, you already lost. Because you, like, to your point of intention, like if you wake up and you're like, well, I'll see what a day take me, like life gonna live you just like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna find out the hard way when you wake up and be like, all right, let's see what today's gonna bring versus I got this, this, and this. These are the things that I'm going to intentionally do today. Right. And I'm working on that myself. And I'm speaking from experience and saying, like, I used to wake up sometimes like, all right, we're gonna see what happened today. Yeah. Nope, that do not work.
No, it doesn't. And
that do not work.
And I think people get confused with when I say living life, that you're doing some fantastic thing. Like, you know, I'm talking about go to Radnor Lake. Like I go to Radnor Lake and I like to take my shoes off and just feel the ground sometimes and just walk and just hear nature and hear sounds and things and just not have my phone on and just get away from the world for a minute. It's not always just doing some great grand. And those are great too. But those are intentional because you plan them. You decide, I'm going on a vacation. I'm going here. I'm going to do this. And you start to plan it. And then you have that excitement that leads up to it. And I ask anybody, when you plan those plans, when you do something that you've been wanting to do, that feeling that you get is great, right? You look at the calendar, you're leading up to it. You're like, man, I'm about to be going blah, blah, blah. I'm going in October, I'm going to the Northern Lights, you know, to go see to Iceland. To see the Northern Lights, because my dad said he wanted to see. We were sitting having dinner like we do on a Wednesday. He said, I want to see the Northern Lights. And I'm like, let's go fucking book it now, right now. Don't wait. We booked it right now. We're going to the Northern Lights in October. Because if you wait, too much weight breaks the bridge every time. You keep putting weight on that bridge, it's going to break. You keep putting weight on it, you know, stop waiting to do what you want to do. Stop it, right? Because you are the only person stopping you from doing what you want to do. Like, you know, like you said, you get some people don't even take all their vacation days. Like you got a job and they give you so many weeks and you only take a half of the time because you feel guilty about leaving this job when that job is going to walk in there one day with some papers and not feel a damn bit of guilt about saying, thank you for your service. We no longer need you here. And you're going to be like, the fuck? Right now you got to go figure your life out. Because they're going in a different direction, and you never did spend that time, you know, didn't do this, didn't do that. And we tie ourselves up to, you know, like I said, check your bank account. Like, really look at your bank account. Because your bank account tells you what you do, what's important to you, where your money's going. Wherever your money's going, you know, if, like you said, if you go out, you got to go out to the club every weekend, and, you know, you dropping 150 here, $50 a part, another $25, $30 to get into place, spend another $100 on drinks. You know, you do that every week. 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 And that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars you've invested in something for short-term happiness. You just got a quick little flare of happiness, nothing that you really remember. Because most people don't even remember those nights. But when you go on a vacation, when you go somewhere and see something you've never seen before, that's what sticks in your brain long term. That's what you remember. When Rich is telling me a story about when they went to New York, and you go see, and they were doing that. You could see the excitement in him telling us the story. You can hear him, feeling the feel of seeing that night, doing what he did, what he wanted to do, and you anticipated it, and it was great. And you now have that story to tell, and that story is in your life, and it's a part of who you are, no matter what it is you do. The greatest trip I ever took was to Morocco. And I spent the night in the Sahara Desert. And there's no phone service. Like, you can't have your phone, you can't talk because you don't have no service. And you have to drive 8 hours to get in it. And then another 2-hour camel ride in the middle of the desert. And then finally the night falls. And you see the sky like you've never seen it before in your life. Every star looks like it's right there. You can just reach out and touch it. And you see all the constellations and all the things that you read about when in the books and in science books and about our universe. And you see those stars, you start seeing the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper and all these different constellations in the quiet. And you realize, you're just in this world, we are just a speck in time, for real, a speck in time. And our speck in time is, a lot of it is, we determine how that's going to go. We determine what people are going to say about us. We determine what people are going to feel about us. And I think when you live your life, people feel better about you than when you had a lot of regrets, when you're always angry because you didn't get to do this or you didn't do that, or you feel, like you should have done this or you should have done that. Yeah, do it. Stop shitting us and wishing and couldas and start doing some of those things and putting your money to the things that really give you what you want back.
I don't know if there's any other way to end this episode besides that. I think that was perfect, man, and appreciate you. For all you bookworms out there listening, we thank you. Condolences and prayers to the family of Jamie Dewitt, Isabel Sr. Sincerely, like, the people that knew him, the people that had a chance to meet him, both of you brothers had that opportunity. Dave, you were a friend. Spike Lee, I know you met him. But the beautiful thing is, as someone who's never met him, I felt like I know him just from listening to your stories and listeners. I got a good scope of who he was as a man and just kind of how he lived his life and impacted people. And I think that's one of the biggest gifts you can give people. Like, how do you, I forget what the quote is. People won't remember what you did for them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And it sounds like he made a ton of people feel good about their life and what they were doing. And that's probably why a lot of people are devastated by the news of his passing. So appreciate you for sharing that, David. Thanks for, keeping Jamie's name in the light, keeping it as a remembrance. Both of you brothers for being open, honest, vulnerable in our conversation. I know it's not easy losing someone, but unfortunately it is a part of life. So we appreciate y'all sincerely. Thank you as always. We'll be back next week with a new episode. We're still going to get Dave at the top of September, so don't you worry. Still got another First Friday, but this was a special edition just to make sure we covered this topic. So until then, we'll see y'all next week for Chapter 74. Let's make sure we get better. Take some time for yourself, man. Do something. Do something that you want to do. Let us know what you think about it. Until then, we out. We'll see y'all. Peace.
Peace.